Hi there. Well, here we are again. It's now the penultimate day of the month, and we're coming towards the climax of May. And what am I going to do? It's interesting. It's been an interesting month this month, and I think there's been progress actually. I think there's been lots of things that have changed, certainly in the technology side, and my appreciation and my knowledge of levels and what's going on. The piece you've just heard in the introduction was yesterday's piece, and hopefully the levels and the volumes were okay. The other thing that I've been fiddling around with is the volume of my voice as well. So it'd be interesting to see what feedback you've got from that, because what I've done is I've taken away some of the limiting, and hopefully it should be a lot more natural sounding. So let me know what you think about that. Right, okay. So what have we done? Actually, what I wanted to do, and I think I alluded to it yesterday, is I want to finish off with a big climax, and that's actually the real test to see whether or not I've worked out how to get the dynamics working in the way that I want them to. I think for the streaming, I think I'm quite happy with what I've done. Just to show you, if we go down here, you can see I used the program yesterday, and actually it's proved to be really useful. SoundSource by Rogue Amoeba. And what I've been able to do is I can now send audio from Ableton directly into OBS, which I could do anyway, but here I can change the volume and I can match it up with other bits of software, and you can see on here that I've got Safari and Ableton set up for the same level, output level, and I can show that actually what I've posted onto the web, I can then show that actually they're exactly the same levels as what's coming through the desktop here, and that's really good, because that's been something that I haven't been able to get a grasp of. So hopefully that's progress. The other thing I've been able to do is compare by playing pieces through the software and seeing how it compares to other performances, other recordings on the web, which is brilliant. So actually, hopefully, what I'm doing now and what you hear now has a lot in common with what you hear generally. Okay, so what have I called today? I've called it Peredun. And the reason I've called it that is because if we go back a couple of weeks, in fact, actually, no, 3 weeks, right towards the 9th, and I called a piece Untempered, and that was when we had the piece that had loads of instruments that weren't in tune with each other. And then, later on, I created a piece which I called Peridopi, and that was a made up word, and Pered. And today I've used that melody, and I've called it Peredun as a sort of throwback to the Pered bit and then the UN. So there we go. That's why. But so if we listen to that one, I'm sure it's probably all is ringing in your ears. But here we are. So this was the piece that has all those ethnic instruments that weren't quite in tune with each other. I don't know if I really like that. It's not that I don't like the piece. I think it's unnerving, really. I think it's the fact that it's not quite in tune. It just, yeah. But you see, that can be really useful if you want to create the atmosphere that unnerves you without possibly knowing why. That could be a good way of going about it. And actually, what you're doing there is you're mixing different cultures, and it's there in front of you, and you can hear the tensions on a frequency level between different approaches to notes. And it is, and actually, when you get into that side of music and you're looking at frequencies and physics, and you realise that actually 440 hertz, 440,000 cycles per second, and all it needs to be is one out, and then you're suddenly, it's not quite in tune, and then you start getting those tensions, and of course you then put chords together that can resolve those tensions, but actually some of the really complex chords can introduce even more, and then you put those together and you end up with little, almost, this is going into the United Nations and world affairs, but actually you could easily represent all of that with chords and music in general. That's something that really fascinates me. Anyway, so we've had that tune. Then on the 14th of the month, we had Peredun. So this is the same tune, different key, different arrangement. And it's interesting, isn't it? Because actually the reason that sounds like that is because a couple of days earlier we had the jazz. And those are the three sort of, I suppose, incarnations that we've had of this melody so far. So I've brought it back today, Peredun, and actually it follows on very much from yesterday's piece because I'm using the similar sorts of accompaniments, and it seems to work quite nicely. Let me know what you think. So what we'll do is we'll hear a little bit of yesterday and then we'll hear the whole of today, because I think I've now got the level sorted. Pride cometh before a fall, because I think I might have it sorted, and what I'm doing is I'm mastering it at minus 23, so K minus 23. You can hear that depth, and certainly in the second half, listen out for those really low rumblings that are supposed to give you that feeling of, ooh, what's going on there? But what we'll do, so let's just start off. So this was yesterday's. We'll hear the first 4 bars, but then we'll go straight in. Well, now I'll pause it so that you can see that there is a difference. Right, here we go. So you can see what I've done there. Yep. What I did today is I've actually changed the bassoon bit a bit, and I've added double basses, so there's a bit more depth, because it was a bit shallow, which I wanted because I then wanted that impact for the second half. So now you've got the double basses playing what they were playing right at the very beginning of the month on the 1st, and then you've also got that mixed in with the really sort of unearthly rumblings. Right, okay, so here we go. This is Peredun. This is today's piece. So what do you think? I think that actually sounds about right. It's going to be interesting again, when I import it into the other software and see what the levels are. But actually, I think it's a lot more consistent across, and hopefully it's a lot more consistent with my voice as well. So the two should come together, and I'll find out today, and then tomorrow we'll have the climax, and we'll see what I'm up to. I think tomorrow I'm going to see if I can make it as big as possible, well, within the constraints of what we've had so far this month, and then we'll see what happens the day after, because that's a brand new month, and yeah, I haven't really thought about that yet. Well, I have, but I haven't come up with an answer. Anyway, I'll see you tomorrow. Hope you've enjoyed today. Have a listen, and actually the SoundCloud, the levels on this and the levels on SoundCloud should be very much the same now, whereas in the past they weren't necessarily. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you tomorrow. Cheers.